It's a true pleasure for me to give a brief summary of a research presentation that I gave as a best fellow in Brisbane. And it's about female preferences in the electorate and how politicians represent female preferences. So I'm doing here some evidence-based behavioral research that informs and maybe also transforms society and the economy. Now, what do we all know? Huh? We know that women in national parliaments are underrepresented. So you observe far more males in parliaments than females. But of course, underrepresentation in numbers is not the same as underrepresentation of preferences. Female legislators may represent female preferences, but they may also represent male preferences. And of course, male politicians may also represent female preferences. So what we would actually be interested in is how are preferences of women and men represented? And that's what we are doing with very interesting data from Switzerland, which we think can be generalized also to other countries, but that's our research contribution then. And it's an interesting case that we have because we can really observe well what politicians are doing in parliament. So how they vote on different legislative proposals. Of course, this you can also do in other countries. But then even more, we know what constituents really want and what their preferences are, because we observe them in referendum decisions where we observe male and female voters who vote on precisely the same issues as politicians do in parliament. So we can merge the two. Thus, we know whether politicians represent their constituents or not. So that's quite unique. And we can generalize that also to other countries, actually. We know what parties want because in our setting, we observe official party voting recommendations too. Here in the back here, you see a gathering of a party congress that gives a voting recommendation to people in referendum decisions. And then ultimately, and that's the most interesting aspect of our research, is we really observe female preferences in the electorate too. And we do this by analyzing post-referendum surveys. While our setting is special, of course, as it's so informative regarding the data, we still think that we can learn a lot for other countries. And in any case, it's a very interesting part of behavioral research, what we are observing. So, of course, we are doing numerous calculations, etc., numerous tests. And overall, we observe that female representatives, female politicians, represent female preferences roughly equally well as male politicians. However, there is an important difference regarding social policies. So it depends on the topic. What you can see here up there is that female politicians represent female preferences substantially better, thus more closely than men, if it's about social and redistributional issues. For all other issues, this is what you see here on the left, the red line, there we don't see any difference between female and male politicians. However, we observe differences regarding social and redistributional issues. And now, what does that mean? That means overall, on average, for many policy areas, there is no large difference regarding representation of female preferences in the electorate. So descriptive representation is not that important there. However, for social and redistributional issues, there are differences how female politicians represent female voters and how male politicians represent the female voters. And that's quite an important topic in itself. So many parliamentary decisions are, of course, also related to social and redistributional issues. And we want to explore that better, try to generalize the results better. And I think this will help to improve societies a bit, to make parliamentary decisions potentially better, and also to understand representation of citizens' preferences in general. Thank you very much for your attention. The research paper is, of course, online, and I hope to see you at some time in Brisbane. Thanks a lot.